Hi, I'm Kathy from the Delfield Quilt Company. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back. I appreciate you coming back and subscribing to the channel. So I'm a quilter and I love quilting and sharing the projects I'm working on and how I made them on this channel. This video is going to be about the first block of the 2024 Summer Sew Along. So this is a 9-week sew along that's going to start mid-July and finish up early September. For those of you who have been around a little while, you might remember last summer's, which was the Slow Summer Stars Sew Along. And if you're interested in making that quilt, all the cut instructions and videos are still available on the website. And before we get started on the 2024 Sew Along, I just wanted to share something on a personal side. Hopefully you don't mind. But I just wanted to thank all of you who have subscribed and have stuck around. I did take a few months off because my mom was not doing well. And I needed to help take care of her. We needed to figure out what was going on. Unfortunately, my mom was diagnosed with glioblastoma, which, if you haven't heard of that, which I had not until my mom got it, is a very aggressive brain cancer. So the last few months, I have not been able to do any videos. I made a few posts just to kind of keep people informed, those of you who are looking forward to the weekly videos. I just wanted to share that because I really very much appreciate that I was able to take the time with my mom and that so many of you stuck around. So thank you. So one more note before I get on to the 2024 sew along is, and related to my mom and quilts and sew alongs, is I just want to share the story because I think sometimes we don't always think about how much a quilt might mean to the person that we're giving it to. Sometimes it might not mean anything, but there was a special moment with my mom. And the 2023 Slow Summer Stars Sew Along quilt, I actually gave that to her. And I wasn't really thinking too much of it. I thought, oh, you know, another quilt that can stay on the couch or something. When my mom started to get sick, I went back to her room to check on her medications. And there was the quilt on her bed as her main quilt. And I was just really honored that she did that. And it meant so much to her. It actually, throughout her illness, it followed her from home to the Grace Center and then back home. And that quilt was a constant for her. And she at one point said to me, I bet you didn't ever think I was going to die underneath the quilt you gave me. And which is, yeah, which really is, I never would have thought that. And I was actually really honored that it was with her and it gave her comfort during that time. So I guess the point of my story is you never really know what a quilt is going to do or mean to someone when you give it to them. All right, let's get started on the 2024 Quilt Along. So this series, like I mentioned before, is just 9 weeks long, so hopefully not too much of a time commitment for those of you who are looking for so long but don't want to give up a lot of time to do it. So overall, this quilt isn't a very large quilt, but you certainly can make it bigger by adding more borders or just creating more of the blocks. So with the quilt that I'm going to share with you, here are the fabric requirements. And there will be a few of these available in kits on our website for those of you who maybe want to use the exact same fabric. If not, you can certainly choose whatever fabrics that you want to use. Also on the website, I will post each week's cutting requirements and a video to go along with it. I'm going to try to do written instructions too, because that was some feedback I got from the last time, was sometimes it's just easier to have it printed out so that you don't have to keep going back to the video. I'm going to try to do that. It takes a little bit of time to put those together, but I hope to have that available on our website as well. All right, let's get started with block number 1. All right, so first let me show you the fabric that we're using. Lots of fun spring summery colors. And I'll put a list of this up on the screen so you can see exactly what I'm using, and I'm also going to put this on our website. Now this is for the whole sampler quilt. I'm actually only going to use the background fabric. This very pale pink. This nice little pink here. And these 3 greens. All right, and for block 1, we need the following pieces to cut. All right, now that I've got it all cut, I'm going to go ahead and get started. And I'm going to first do a diagonal line on the wrong side of all of these 2.5-inch squares with the white background. And I am using a fabric-friendly pen. And I like to, when I'm doing my diagonal lines, I like to use my 45-degree mark on the ruler And I put it just slightly below the points on both ends of the diagonal. That way I account for the width of the pen. And then I'm just going to repeat this on the other 3 blocks here. All right, then I'm just going to put right sides of the fabric together. I'm going to lay one of these 2.5 inch white squares on top of one of the 2.5 inch chartreuse. And then I'm going to sew 1/4 inch on both sides of this line. Basically, I'm going to make 2 half square triangles at a time, and I'm going to do that for these other sets here. And I'm just using my 1/4 inch foot as my guide. I'm going to put it right on that line that I drew earlier. All right, now that I've sewn 1/4 inch on both sides of the line, I'm just going to cut right on that line now. And then I will have 4 sets of half square triangles. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to press these towards the darker fabric. Okay, now that these are all pressed, I'm going to go ahead and trim them down so they are exactly 2-inch squares. They should be pretty close, but just in case my lines were a little bit off, I want to just make sure that I check them all. And as I'm trimming these, I'm just using that 45-degree line again on my ruler and putting it right on the seam, the diagonal seam here. And I'm just a little bit off, so I'm just going to trim a little. All right, I'm going to set those ones aside, and now for the next one. I need these 2-inch chartreuse squares here. And then I'm going to, just like before, I'm going to draw a diagonal line down each of these. Okay, and this time I'm not making half square triangles. I'm instead just going to put these green corners on 2 of the corners of these pink blocks. So I need the 3.5 inch pink ones here. And put one on the upper left and one on the bottom right corner, making sure to line up the 2 sides of the corners here. And then for this one, I'm going to sew right on the line that I drew before. All right, I'm going to go ahead and do that for all of these, and I'll be back. Okay, now that I've got this sewn, I'm just going to trim 1/4 inch from that sewing line. And you want to do to the right of that sewing line. And I'm just going to press each of these to the corner to make that square again. And when this is finished, it should still measure 3.5 inches square. Okay, we're almost near the end here. All right, the next step is to draw some more lines. So we're going to take our 2-inch of the background fabric, so fabric A, and we're going to draw diagonal lines again. And you're going to want to draw that line on 8 of these white squares. And then you should have 8 of the leaf green 2-inch squares, same thing. I'm going to draw a diagonal line on those. And once you have those all done, we're going to bring back our 3.5 by 5 inch rectangle that's in green apple. And we are going to sew these on the corners. We're going to do 2 whites here, but first I'm going to sew 1 white on first. I'm going to start in the bottom left corner. I'm going to sew right on the line there. And then I'm going to trim it, press it, and then sew the other one on. Okay, now that I've got this pressed and I press it to the corner, I'm going to go ahead and put the second white one on and sew right on that line again. Same thing like before, I'm going to trim off a 1/4 inch from the drawn line. You want to make sure you're to the right of the line. And then I'll press this one to the corner just like before. And then we're going to repeat that process just with the leaf green here. So same thing, I'm going to sew one on first, trim, press, and then sew the other one on. Okay, now this piece is all done, and it should measure 3.5 inches by 5. So now that I've got it laid out, I'm ready to put this together. And we do have a chart that's available in instructions on our website that tells you how to put together and also what direction to press the seams. So I encourage you to go out to our website and visit that. And now that the black's finished, I just want to say thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you haven't yet, please subscribe and visit us at DelfiaQuiltCo.com. Have a wonderful day.